Hello everyone, I'm Renown Zero. We are back with a new gaming news video talking about a couple of things like some new announcements with Xbox Game Pass, as well as things like adding difficulty sliders to Lies of P because apparently they need more players to play their game, even though they can simply just make a game for people who could absolutely understand game mechanics and learn how to get good, which I think is going to set a dangerous precedent when it comes to games like Dark Souls and Elden Ring, where people are now going to point at Lies of P and say, well, I guess if Lies of P can insert difficulty options, then why can't Elden Ring also introduce difficulty options? And I think it's going to be disastrous for games like that moving forward, where weirdos who don't even play these games or just simply are garbage at them and they suck at them, they're going to constantly hound these developers like From Software for difficulty options like they have for years. So let's go into this article here from IGN. It says Microsoft has announced Retro Classics with Game Pass, a collaboration with Antstream Arcade to bring a collection of over 50 classic Activision games from the 80s and 90s to Game Pass members. The list includes the likes of Commando, Grand Prix, Kaboom, MechWarrior 2, 31st Century Combat, and Pitfall. Some of the games go back 45 years. Players can even save their progress and continue later, a first for many of these games. Microsoft said Retro Classics with Game Pass is a step in our commitment to game preservation and backwards compatibility, which is something they've talked about for a very long time, being a part of the huge thing with game preservation and backwards compatibility, bringing forward all of your library and even games from libraries that they've acquired from places like Activision Blizzard. Retro Classics will be available to all Game Pass membership options in the regions where Game Pass is currently available. So you can get it with PC Game Pass Ultimate, and Game Pass Standard as well. You can see Pitfall 2 here. Platform sections include Atari 2600, DOS, and Amiga. It's worth noting there's a PlayStation section of Retro Classics, which currently includes MechWarrior 2, 31st Century Combat. So this is now pushing forward into getting games from places like PlayStation and now Sega Saturn. MechWarrior 2, 31st Century Combat was developed and published by Activision in 1985 on PC before coming to PlayStation and Sega Saturn in 1997. The only game in the SNES section is 1993's MechWarrior. Over time, Microsoft will add more classic games from Activision and Blizzard's back catalog to Game Pass, expanding the Retro Classic collection to over 100 games. Expect additional games to be added monthly. This is going to be the lineup here that you guys can see here. This is going to be a lot of their old library from Activision. So starting, I guess, with these Retro Classics, hopefully Microsoft can also put the more modern games like all the Call of Duty games, the prototype games, and things of that nature onto Xbox Game Pass. With Retro Classics, Game Pass members can expect a seamless gaming experience across console, PC, and on supported devices with cloud gaming, whether playing on Xbox console, the Xbox app on PC, or streaming on supported LG and Samsung Smart TVs, Amazon Fire TV devices, and MetaQuest headsets. Retro Classics offers a versatile and accessible way to enjoy these nostalgic titles. Game Pass members can access Retro Classics through their Game Pass membership by searching and installing the feature via their console or in the Xbox app on PC. Additionally, players can take on friends, rivals, or the entire world with unique challenges. So that's pretty awesome that they're continuing to go forward with their game preservation and backwards compatibility, unlike other companies who refuse to do so. But it seems like Game Pass is going to be adding a huge JRPG that was pretty successful, probably not too successful, and it kind of just was one of those sleeper hits for a lot of people with Metaphor ReFantazio and more in late May of 2025, which I'm looking forward to trying out Metaphor ReFantazio when it does drop on Game Pass. Microsoft has announced the next lineup of games coming to Xbox Game Pass, free games for subscribers of the platform for this month in late of May 2025, sorry. Available today, which was Monster Train 2, available on day 1. Coming soon, you have Creatures of Ava on May 22nd for Game Pass Standard, Stalker 2 for Game Pass Standard, Tales of Kinterazao, which is crazy that that's going to be coming out tomorrow. Seems like that developer that decided to work with Sweet Baby Inc. decided to take a paycheck from Microsoft, which is crazy. Division 2 on the 27th, and then you have To a T on the 28th, And you have, of course, Metaphor ReFantazio on cloud, PC, and Series X and S on May 29th for Game Pass Ultimate, PC Game Pass, and Game Pass Standard. You also have Spray Paint Simulator, Crypt Custodian in June. So we got Symphonia and Crypt Custodian starting us off in June, on June 3rd. You have 15 other titles like Brutal Legend, Costume Quest 2, Day of the Tentacle Remaster, Full Throttle Remaster, Grim Fandango Remaster, Max the Curse of Brotherhood, Neon Abyss, Quantum Break, Rare Replay, Scream Ride, State of Decay Year 1, Steam World Dig 2, Sunset Overdrive, which is a very underrated game from Insomniac that still hasn't been ported over to PlayStation, which is hilarious, even though PlayStation owns that studio. Super Lucky Tale and Zoo Tycoon Ultimate Animal Collection. These are all being added to cloud. And then you, of course, have DLCs that are now available, like Sea of Stars, The Throes of the Watchmaker. A couple of perks and a couple of games leaving Game Pass. The big one being, of course, Remnant 2. So you have Senua Saga, Hellblade 2 coming to PS5 alongside an enhanced release. Publisher Xbox Game Studios and developer Ninja Theory announced Senua Saga Hellblade 2 is coming to PS5 alongside improvements for existing platforms. So definitely giving Microsoft yet another game that they can earn revenue for their brand. As much as people like to say Xbox is dead, their games are selling highly on the charts for PlayStation. The action-adventure sequel is coming to PS5 sometime this summer as an enhanced release with some exciting new features that are also coming to existing platforms. The sequel to the award-winning Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice. Senua's story continues, a crafted experience, all this other good stuff. And features I think are like, 60 FPS, I guess. I really don't know exactly what features exactly are coming, but I'm sure they'll come with something. You also have Arcade Archives 2 Ridge Racer adds Xbox version and confirms pricing. Hamster Corporation has announced an Xbox port for Arcade Archives 2 Ridge Racer, the re-release of the beloved classic racing game. Ridge Racer will launch for Series X and S alongside its previously announced Switch and PS5 versions on June 5th, which is crazy that it wouldn't be on the Switch 2, considering June 5th is when the Switch 2 releases. This will be the first time the game has been released on an Xbox console. The Xbox release will only be available in its Arcade Archives 2 form, while the original Arcade Archives version will be on Switch and PS4. Pricing on the new re-release was also confirmed with an upgrade from its Arcade Archives 1 release. For those wanting to pony up to Arcade Archives 2, you can see the breakdown of the prices here. It's got a bunch of different modes, got VRR support, and so on and so on. So anyone who's looking forward to this game, and as well as Part 2, or I guess the Arcade Archives 2 version of Ridge Racer, you can look forward to that as well. But the biggest thing I think I'm going to be talking about in this video is the fact that Lies of P is now going to get difficulty options to make the Souls-like more accessible, and that includes the base game and the expansion coming along with it, which is Lies of P Overture. So Lies of P Overture will introduce difficulty options to try to increase the number of players who can enjoy the game, because a bunch of people just simply couldn't get good scrub. Difficulty options in Souls-likes are rare from Software's games featuring no such options. While much of the community celebrates this and the difficulty of those games is part of why they have enjoyed such popularity, some players have argued that a lack of difficulty options prohibits potential players from enjoying the genre. It's a bunch of guys who've never played a Souls-like game in their entire life and just simply can't get good scrub and can't seem to learn patterns of bosses and enemies, so they cry to the developer saying that they need an easy mode for a game that's not made for them. It's made for hardcore gamers who want an actual challenge in video games, which is why the Souls games and Elden Ring and Bloodborne and the like are all well received, including Lies of P. Now, Lies of P Overture developer NeoWiz has announced that it will introduce difficulty options in its upcoming expansion. Quote, "We wanted to make sure a wider audience of players could play the game," said game director Jiwon Choi. When asked if this decision was made based on player feedback, he responded, "Absolutely, we have a lot of feedback from customers and from our developers." I'm pretty sure you're not getting feedback from actual customers, because actual customers love this game, including myself. You're getting it from a bunch of whiny babies on Twitter who can't simply, again, get good. So by making development adjustments and introducing these difficulty options, we can offer the experience to different types of players. This broadens the base. We'll have to wait and see if they actually get any huge bump in sales when the difficulty options are released. The new difficulty options, Butterfly's Guidance and Awakened Puppet, will be added in a patch released alongside Lies of P Overture. The game's default difficulty will now be named Legendary Stalker. VGC recently got the chance to play Lies of P Overture as well as the new Battle Memories mode. A sequel to Lies of P is currently in development, and Lies of P Overture serves as a great intermission between the two acts. The zoo is a great location for an expansion, extremely well designed, and new additions to the enemy roster will give players dozens of new patterns to learn and attacks to dodge. But there's no point in you learning these patterns if you're just going to be a big baby back P-word and play on the easiest difficulties, so it really makes no sense. Lies of P's new difficulty system is perhaps the most interesting addition to the whole package, and one that has the potential to bring a new audience to a beloved genre. At the same time, the harder difficulty levels of the new Battle Memories mode will give players a chance to sharpen their skills before the full sequel of the game arrives. So, like I said before, this will basically open the door for everyone and anyone to start crying about the games like Elden Ring, Dark Souls, and Bloodborne and Demon Souls about there not being difficulty settings, and then what they'll do is they will point at Lies of P and say, yeah, well, these guys can do it. Why can't you guys do it? You guys can do it since they can do it. But the thing is, I believe that these developers like From Software should stick to their guns and simply never put a difficulty setting to lock out these absolute babies, because it seems like Elden Ring could sell 13, 14, 15 million copies without any such difficulty setting. I don't understand why Lies of P simply couldn't be the same way, because they're basically copying and entering into a genre that is just like Elden Ring and Dark Souls, that Soulsborne type of game. And now Lies of P being the first Souls-like type game to have difficulty options, like I said, will open the door for future developers to start doing the exact same thing when crybabies just simply, again, can't get good. So, thank you all for checking out this video. I really do appreciate all the new subscribers, returning subscribers, new viewers, and returning viewers. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below about the Retro Classics and the Game Pass editions, as well as Senua Saga Hellblade 2 coming to PS5. Let me know if you're going to be picking that one up or enjoying any of the new games in Game Pass, as well as letting me know if you're going to be picking up Ridge Racer or picking up the new DLC coming out for Lies of P, and let me know what you think about the game, the first Souls-like game to have accessibility difficulty options, and how you feel about all that. So hit the bell for notifications when you click subscribe. That way you'll get a notification anytime I post in a video or go live on the channel, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.